Magic 8 Ball? Should In the Toy Box make a show about vintage toys? You may rely on it. Hello out there and welcome to In the Toy Box, the show where the toys are the stars. I'm your co-host Kevin and I'm here with Matthew.
And today we're going to be talking about vintage toys and we have many guests and surprises.
Stay tuned.
Now batting for the Toy Box team, number 22.
Jeez.
Matt, we have an excellent assortment of vintage toys in front of us today. We have things like the wiffle ball bat, or a wiffle ball.
Yep.
We got the Etch-a-Sketch, which if anyone at home knows, it's like, I think it's got like a sand base. I don't know how it really works. It's like a magnetized thing. It's got 2 dials.
Right.
You move them, you can draw stuff. I always had a tough time with it.
Yeah.
You know, you pick it up and you try to move these dials. This one says no Wi-Fi needed.
Well.
There's no way. That would take me all day to make something like that. You know? We have a mechanical toy here, battery operated, you'll see later on. Also, the Rubik's Cube. I've never been good at these things. I've owned them. I see people online, they're like, and in 10 seconds they got it mastered.
Yeah.
I've been able to get maybe 1 or 2 sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 I might be actually embellishing.
Yeah, you might get 2. Yeah, 2. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for believing in me. I appreciate
you.
that. What do you have in front of you?
Over here we got pickup sticks.
Oh yeah.
Which anyone remembers, you kind of like you grab a bunch in your hand and you throw them on the ground, and however they land, like some fall on top of the other, then you get the other stick, the black stick, and you try to pick up as many as you can. The most sticks you can get is
the winner.
The winner.
Right.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
We also have a yo-yo. You know, put your finger in the little ring. And I used to be able to do some tricks with these things, so maybe I can showcase that a little. You know, slide whistle. I always, you know, whistles in general.
Right.
Got a bunch of these. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. The Magic 8 Ball, I think, is everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a plastic 8 ball, and it answers your question. So, Matt, why don't you ask us a question?
Will I be getting more toys this year?
Fingers are crossed for you, buddy. Concentrate and ask again. Ask again. Matt.
Am I going to get more toys this year?
It is decidedly so.
Oh, well,
Perfect.
That's good.
And what else do we have here?
We have a log building set, which is similar to the vintage what is
Lincoln
it?
Logs?
Lincoln Logs. Yeah, this is a smaller scale, but they're made of wood.
Yep.
They have like a stain on them and everything. And we've built a fort that
Yes, we did.
they came with instructions for. This is by, I think it's called Roy Toy.
Yes.
So
I heard this came out in the 30s. I think the Lincoln Logs may have come out before that, but it's around the same time.
Yeah.
I'd never had Roy Toy building blocks growing up.
No.
I did have the Lincoln Logs. Had a lot of fun with those. This was tough.
Yes, yeah, it was.
Roy Toy puts out a challenge.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned for some more vintage toys coming at you next. Many toys of the past included small motors inside of them that allowed for some fascinating fun. More primitive motors have a wind-up feature that engages the gears and makes the toy come to life. Let's take a look at these working wind-ups. This dancing donkey wiggles and waggles while his tail spins. Here's a slow-walking camel. A drumming panda. And a running child with his suitcase. This hungry bear pays no mind to the honeybees as he has a little snack. Wind-up banks are fun to play with too. Place your penny on the edge of this tub and a leg emerges from the water to scoop up savings. A coin on this happy apple makes a change-collecting caterpillar appear. More complex motors require a battery to operate. This cymbal-clapping chimp lets out a yelp when you hold down his head. A beverage-holding bear on a log pours himself a cup of a familiar soft drink and has a taste. A pipe-smoking panda gives his shoes a good shine. Charlie Weaver, the bartender, shakes us up a cocktail. He pours it into a martini glass and takes a lip-smacking sip. His face turns flush. Maybe this drink's a tad too strong. The jolly sailor likes his drinks neat. Pouring directly from the bottle to his glass, he takes a sip, which makes his eyes roll and hat wobble. Mr. McGregor is sitting on his luggage smoking a cigar. He stands to greet us and takes another seat. His eyes close while taking a puff. The Cragstand crapshooter is yelling out, "No more bets," as he shakes his cup of dice and dumps it on the mat. Is that your lucky number? It's fascinating watching these gear-driven goodies of the past entertain audiences with motorized movement.
Steve Austin, astronaut. A man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We can make the first bionic man. Better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster.
Oscar, you needed me?
Yes, Steve. I've just finished creating that file regarding your specific bionics.
Oh, I could tell you. Everything's working fine.
I have an assignment for you, old pal.
What do you got, Oscar?
We've noticed a lot of strange behavior within our ranks. Find out what's behind it.
Okay, I'll have to check it out at the USI Safe House.
Steve, I've assigned you a partner on this one. Jamie, I just reviewed your file. As a member of OSI, I am teaming you with Steve Austin.
I won't let you down, Oscar. My bionics are in perfect order.
Good. We have our team.
Steve, is this where the OSI safe house is?
Yes. And it seems there's something blocking our path. It looks like a large tree. I'll get it out of the way. I'll be right back.
Steve, I hear footsteps. They're about a mile away.
You're right. Let's get back to headquarters. Oscar, there's something different about you.
You think so? It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Colonel Austin.
Maskatron.
We will meet again, Steve Austin.
Right. I'm just sitting here right now. Just want to show you some of the details and explain these banks, these car banks, antique banks that were part of my Pa's collection. So I think, as I mentioned, there's 11 of these banks. Not really too sure how he how he came to own these, or if it was a collection that started as maybe 6 banks and then he added on every year. But as you can see with this, this is got a open top. The wheels spin. There's a lot of details on these vehicles. You can actually, you can see the date on the front of this one. It says it's the Rambler. Looks like 1902. It's cool, just real cool details on the light, the seat. These are, cars from, the early 20th century. I'd say anywhere from turn of the century, up to, 1920 or so. Just looking at the bottom on this one, it says where they were manufactured. Banthrico Incorporated, Chicago, USA, 1974. So that's this is one of the 11. This is definitely one of my favorites. And you look at just all the details and how they've withstood, I guess, the test of time. I mean, this was a bank that wouldn't be used as a as a toy. I never used them as toys, but just something as part of a collection that went in a case. I do want to show this one. I think this one's cool. This one's a 1908. Let me put that one down. 1908, says Buick on the front. Anybody that was into I don't know, like gangster, kind of, as I look at this, all I can think about is that kind of that era, and kind of the vehicles, the cars that were popular during that time. This one as well, same thing on the bottom, 1974 Banthrico. Chicago, USA. Be a bank, you'd put your change in the bottom there, and then use some type of an object to kind of pop that off. So it was cool because if you're putting your money in there, you probably want to save it. And actually when I when I came to have these in my possession, there were some old coins in there from years ago that I think my pa probably had put in there. So that was cool as well. Yeah, those are the antique cars, and I'm just really happy to have something that brings me back to a time that was a really good upbringing and childhood for me. So I love my pa, I miss my pa, and these are fantastic items to have.
We are now joined in studio by our friend Rob, and he has a fantastic collection of lunchboxes. Rob, if I can ask you, what started you collecting lunchboxes?
Well, I found the lunchbox that I had as a child. That's over here to your left. That's Masters of the Universe.
Okay.
And when I came across it, I remembered it, like we all do when we get into this sort of hobby. And it started out as one presentable piece, and it turned into what we have behind us.
Quite a collection, and this is not your whole collection, I hear.
It is not. It's about half of it.
And what is the oldest lunchbox that you have?
The oldest one's this Battle Kit. This is from 1965. This is from King Sealy, which later became Thermos.
Okay.
It's in great shape. It presents really well. This was on the market at a time when we were coming off of World War II, Korea. Vietnam War had just started, and it was prior to G.I. Joe. So this was kind of the precursor. But good thing about this one is it had a glass and metal encased drink container, which we normally call Thermos.
Right.
Thermos is a brand name, King Sealy.
Was that kind of an innovation of the time? Like you're a kid, you have this little thing you can keep your drinks hot and cold?
Absolutely, yeah. You could have soup, you could have hot chocolate, you could have all sorts of things. If it was ice water, it would stay cold.
Wow, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this auto racing lunchbox and the special feature that it has.
So this is another oldie. This is 1967, also by King Sealy Thermos Company. But the great thing about this is it had a game on the back. So when kids would be in the cafeteria eating their lunches, they could be spinning the game piece and then moving their magnetic cars. There's a race around the track.
What's better than lunch in a game?
I don't know. They don't make lunches
awesome.
like they used to.
Yeah, that is awesome.
But this is another one that presents really well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple pieces here I really enjoy. One in particular is this Superman one I'm going to grab. I love the just the artwork on it is fantastic. Do you know the artist who did this at all?
This was Elmer Lionheart, yeah. So this is Christopher Reeve on the cover. This was the 1978 film.
Yep.
This is a great piece. It has Margot Kidder on the back.
Yep.
It's a Daily Planet scene. It's got the baby lifting the car. This was a great movie and a great piece.
Yeah, it really is fantastic. I love it. Got the thermos in there. It is Thermos at this point, do you know? Is this a Thermos or?
This was made by Aladdin, so this is actually, this was anti-thermos, if there were such a phrase. This is just a typical drink container.
Gotcha.
It did have the childhood playground safety disclaimer on the lid.
Yep.
Now my favorite lunchbox was the Evel Knievel. That's the one I had as a kid. And I remember the front with him jumping over the cars. I remember this fancy rocket that he had. I just love this lunchbox. It's really cool.
So this is one of my favorites as well. This predates me a little bit. This is 1974. The artist for this was John Henry, but this screams Americana. This is red, white, and blue. What I love about this is the graphics of the cars.
Absolutely.
On the automobiles of 1970 hot rods he's jumping over. Another great thing about this particular box is if you open it, you'll actually see a name tag of the child that owned it. I think his name was Christopher Ryan. But I love opening a box and finding the humanity behind it, the human element. And you know that some kid took a lot of pride in this.
Absolutely.
And took good care of it, and that's why it's in my collection now.
Now, this was, did you say before this one was the last metal one made?
So that was the last steel. This was, there was a campaign to cancel metal lunchboxes because they were deemed a danger to the schoolyard. So Thermos, as it was at this time, ironically put kind of a violent graphic on and a rocket launcher was their way of perhaps giving a slight to the industry. And there wasn't much more to that graphic other than camouflage and rocket launchers.
Well, we really enjoyed you sharing your collection with us today. Everyone here in the studio and at home loves it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
This is the Barbie Corvette. In 1975, Mattel released Corvettes for both Barbie and Big Jim. I thought it would be fun to convert this old Barbie Corvette into a custom Big Jim Corvette. First, I removed the windshield, chairs, steering wheel, luggage rack, and wheels. Then I began removing the decals, but the decals were leaving a sticky residue. I tried everything: rubbing alcohol, peanut butter, and then finally Goo Gone. This was a long, frustrating process. Then when all the decals were removed successfully, it was time to paint. I painted the interior and the bottom of the car flat red, but it looked awful. I applied a second coat and it still looked awful. Then I decided to spray paint the interior with red gloss paint, as well as the back and the front. This went well. With a brush, I used flat black to paint the chairs and the bottom of the car. I did leave the wheel wells flat red for a different look. After spray painting the entire body with gloss black paint, it was time to remove all the tape. Now to apply new decals to the rear, front, hood, sides, wheels, and interior. Then I carefully reassembled all the parts of the car. This is the interior of the custom compared to the Barbie version and the original Big Jim version. The custom has black seats. Also the rear of the car and how it looks now compared to the original Barbie and Big Jim versions. The original and custom Corvettes side by side. Before and after.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm going to solve this Rubik's Cube.
That's all I got, Rubik. Round D greens!
I decided to go for a different color. Screwed it all up.